Ooh, live streaming isn't available right now. What does that even mean?
Well, so much about right away.
Yeah, geez, oh Pete. Oh, okay. It looks like I think we're good. Pat, you want to check your channel?
I'm good.
Oh, we're good. We're
We're
good.
live.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to KOTK episode number 2. Today, it's Knowledge of the Kingdom as we discuss the many leaks, rumors, and just controversies regarding Tears of the Kingdom as we are now 18 days till launch. I want to start off by introducing our very special guest coming on to a brand new podcast. Can be scary, can be daunting, but we appreciate it so much. We got Nate, Nintendo Prime here, representing the sort of the Zelda leak community, I'd say.
Oh, be careful about that. There's a huge part of that community that doesn't like it. So.
Blame Nate, guys. You heard it here.
It's always my fault. Just bring it. Just let it fall on me. It's all good.
No, we're very glad to have you. You have been, extensively covering everything Tears of the Kingdom for a while now, and we got quite the show talking about all of the leaks, everything from the art book leak, a big Reddit leak, beat 'em ups leaking the console somehow. We got fake leaks. We've got how we cover leaks, which I think will be interesting as sort of a behind the scenes. And we'll take everybody to task for how they handle all of that on their channels. We also have Pat. In a new state, Pat NintenTalk now. Pat,
Yep.
can I say the state? Is that?
Yeah, you
okay?
can say that.
He is
big state,
Massachusetts talk now.
Yes, we moved finally, but we're here. There's boxes, but we're good. We're doing it.
I know moving is very stressful, but maybe it's just because I've done it like 20 times in my life. But I enjoy getting like a whole new set, getting like a whole new routine, a whole new system. I mean, not all the time, but there is something kind of fun about like building it again, especially with like new knowledge, new pieces, new.
That makes one of us. No, I actually do like it. I like it, but I have a bigger space here, so it's all good. But yeah, I like unpacking better. Packing sucks. Packing's never fun.
And packing's fun. You end up finding a lot of things like, didn't know I had this,
Yeah.
weird controller from wherever. Didn't know I still had all my Burger King Pokeball figures in their little clip-on Pokeballs. Yeah, still have all that stuff. But let's dive into Zelda. That is the topic of this podcast. Thank you, by the way, to everybody who has commented on the logo, on the artwork. Again, that's from Joseph, my editor. Very, very nice job there. Today, I guess we got to decide first off. We're gonna do this every week. Nate, I'll give you first pick. Who are you on this Triforce here? Link, Zelda, or Ganon?
Oh boy, put me on the spot.
Yeah.
I was choosing between power, courage, or wisdom. I want to pick it based on the design. Let's see.
Okay.
All right. You know what? Give me wisdom with Zelda. I'm liking the little wink with the blowing the bubble gum.
Yeah. All right. Taking mine. All right. I see how it goes. Coming in, just taking it right away. All right, Pat. So you're down to 2. I'll take the leftovers this time.
I'm taking Link just because Zach's like the nicest guy ever, and seeing him as Ganon is hilarious to me. So.
There we go. All the power.
Yeah. Moody. He does have luscious hair, which I got some decent hair. So, Pat, you're one of the few people. Well, not one of the few people, but you've known me since the Brown days.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty. That's a long time.
Listen, when the Switch came out, we're going back 2017. I was watching these two knuckleheads. I was watching Nate do his thing. I was watching Zach. So this is cool, man.
Yeah.
I like it.
Very, very good. Okay, the one I want to talk about, maybe it's a little taboo, but I want to just get sort of you guys' opinions on how did you feel when Nintendo announces this Switch OLED that we've, heard rumors about, thought was happening, and then one of the biggest Nintendo YouTubers has the system the day that it's announced. What were thoughts were going through your head when you saw Beat 'em Up's video?
I'll let Nate start that one.
He spent a lot of money. That was the first thought that went in my mind is he's got to connect. He must have had this system obviously verified a long time ago through someone at manufacturing and spent a lot of money to be able to be the first.
Yeah. I was thinking, dude's got to hook up at a factory and a bulletproof Nintendo vest.
Because I paid a lot to get the Switch OLED early, so I know what it costs to.
But on announce day, that.
Yeah. He sat on it apparently for like a month. So
That's the weird thing. Like he apparently had it, and in his video he was like, I don't know if this is real or not. And then so I think he had just the video in the chamber, and then this direct came out and he drops it. I don't know, man. I just, as a creator in the space, I don't like seeing stuff like that, because then it
Really?
just puts bad names on everyone. I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. But it did well. The video did well. Everyone loved seeing it, and it was really cool for him because now he, the console comes out Friday, right? So it's like if Nate uploads a video of an unboxing, it doesn't hit as hard because of this exclusive video. So I don't know. I know that he's had some problems or relationship problems with Nintendo in the past, and
I don't think this helped.
Yeah, no.
Well, but
it does not.
Here's kind of the deal, though, because I have, maybe not as extensive, but I have relationship troubles with Nintendo as well, which is shocking to me because all I've done is promote their system for the last 6.5 years every day, and I didn't feel like I did anything wrong. But I will say, for as much heat as he might get from Nintendo, as long as he's confident he won't get shut down, the drama is just good. Like those videos where you're like, the true story behind Nintendo's hate for me, or like why Nintendo doesn't love me, like those, that's content. And so I think, it fits into the whole Zelda leak thing of like anything is kind of content, and whether it's talking about the art book leak, talking about leaks that probably are fake, like it really becomes this content game where the more and more, what do we have there?
Another leak.
Another leak. You heard it here first. But all of that, like the more YouTube just becomes prevalent, the more Twitch becomes prevalent, I feel like leaks become more prevalent just because whether it's fake or it's not, it's content for somebody. It's able to be put into a video format. And let's kick it off with the art book, because this one also happened really early. If you guys don't know, the Zelda Tears of the Kingdom official art book leaked in just about its entirety, all the pages, and that provided a lot of insight before trailer 3, before the gameplay overview, as to how this game was going to go. Normally we have leaks from the Jeff Grubbs and the Nate Drakes of the world, but that was a weird one because similar to Beat 'em Up's OLED, this is like somebody on the inside is being real sneaky.
Yeah.
Or real dumb.
Or real dumb, yes.
Especially given Nintendo's overall reaction at the moment to it. It's doesn't seem like that was a smart move.
Do you want to talk about what that reaction is?
Sure. Yeah. Nintendo is not happy. They have a whole lawsuit injunction against Discord to get information on a user that they so far think is the direct source of the leak, or at least the first person to share it online. Obviously, we don't know what's going to come from that or anything because none of those details have been made public. I know I've talked to a couple people that were actually named in the lawsuit. It seems like they might be more free and clear because basically it's just all pointing back to that one user right now.
Okay.
And they just got in trouble for re-uploading and having links of it available to download. But Nintendo's not happy at all. They are very, very mad. We have no idea what happened to the person who took the pictures because nobody thinks that Discord user is the one who took the pictures.
Oh, interesting.
But, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of weird. Nintendo's just cracking down with everything related to Tears of the Kingdom right now.
Rightfully so, though. I mean, to me, this is the most surprising set of leaks because an actual commercial leaks, an actual art book leaks, an actual console leaks. This isn't just blurry pictures or random rumors. This is like all actual stuff. People have gotten very ballsy with this game. And I don't know if people have had a chance to see. Maybe I can link to it, but there's a big Reddit leak. And this one has been kind of tossed around as we found out more information. Pat, did you have a chance to look over this leak?
I did. It's very extensive, goes over gameplay, different mechanics like that. Do you want to just go piece by piece?
Yeah, we can go piece by piece or just kind of grouping them together because they do talk a lot about the fusion mechanics. They do talk a lot about weapons and vehicles, and this was before the whole overview. But I wanted to kind of focus in on this leak because it's been the one that sort of, I think, at least from my perspective, referenced a lot as like, okay, they were pretty spot on. What's your take on that, Nate? Do you think that this is a case of, hey, just really putting the puzzle pieces together and getting lucky, or do you think this is a case of, hey, this person is being proven as like an actual legit source?
This is one of those things that the only way we would get a leak like this is if it's like a playtester. Which, by the way, we've had leaks like that before, so it is possible. And that's why I paid a lot to the section where it talks about the plot, because none of the playtesters get to play the game start to finish. So I was looking at that, and he doesn't really detail start to finish. It says intentionally, but so it makes me feel like maybe he just played a big segment of the game, which again, it's an open world game, so how they limit those segments is beyond me.
Yeah.
That's Nintendo's duty to make sure not everyone has access to the whole game. But yeah, I mean, look, the bottom line is every new bit of information that comes out seems to unveil a little bit more of this was true, which makes me start, like, I was on Team Fake for a long time with this, but it's sort of, as more information comes out, as more of it seems to be true, it's sort of like, hey, maybe this really was a playtester that just didn't care about their job and decided to put this out there. So,
yeah.
I mean, Nintendo probably knows who this person is by now if they are a real leaker. So, then again, I do wonder, one thing is that Nintendo was trying to shut some things down on Reddit, but they haven't been able to do so. Like, I think the commercial's still up on Reddit as well. So, we know that they've been striking channels over that. So we know Nintendo's not happy about that. So it's kind of weird watching like what they could do to YouTube, but aren't really enforcing on Reddit, which is, I find that to be quite interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's also why, like, this could be true, and Nintendo's just like, hey, we're just gonna figure out who this person is, but whatever, it's already out there.
Yeah. I just think it's weird that all three of these leaks probably could be sourced back to the person doing it. Like, I don't really see the risk. I don't really see the risk versus reward here. Because I listen to Kit and Krista a lot, and they always talk about like little groups of people that deal with just Nintendo things, and they often say that they're like very small groups. Like, this group will deal with marketing, this group. So I feel like Nintendo could easily find these people. So I just don't know. I mean, this Reddit leak, there's nothing in here that really surprises me. Like, I feel like it's all very safe and very believable. And a lot of these things are going to be either confirmed or, you know, whatever when the game comes out anyway. So, like, it's very safe. I don't know if you want to go into any specifics.
Let's make sure we avoid spoilers just in case people don't want anything specifically spoiled. And I think one of the interesting parts of all of this that maybe people don't really know is how we kind of cover this stuff, and it's what I wanted to get into with you, especially Nate. Like, you know, a commercial leaks, right? And you have some options. So a commercial leaked for Tears of the Kingdom, an official commercial, no idea how they got it, where it came from, but it gets posted, and our options are, okay, we can talk about it, we can show still frames from it, we can try and show the exact video, and there are considerations and risks, kind of like you're talking about, Pat, of what is the benefit. Now, with something like leaking the art book or leaking a commercial, I don't really know what the benefit is, because it's not like it's like, okay, if it was you, Nate, and you're like, hey, I have the art book, I'm leaking it, that could be, you know, massive views for your channel at the risk of maybe getting sued, you know, right?
Yeah. It's probably the end of my career.
Yeah. But if it pans out, you know, maybe it's beneficial. For these people, though, like you said, Pat, I don't know what I guess it's just chaos. It's just create chaos, because they're not attaching a namesake to it. They're not attaching a channel really to it. But then for us, we see this stuff, and my take is I never am going to show the actual leak, because I know that's when you start getting into real tricky territory.
Yeah, I hear you there. On the art book, I did show some stuff from it, and Nintendo slapped down the video, which is, to be fair, I expected it. I was very curious if they were going to do strikes or just takedowns. For me, they just did a takedown. I don't know what they did for other channels. And then I reached out to my rep with them behind the scenes, and they basically just said, hey, you know, we know this is out there, just don't show a lot of it. Like, you want to put like one image up, cool. Like,
and that's Nintendo saying that?
Yeah, that was, well, technically it was Golan, their PR company, saying that. But that's because they know, they recognize my channel as a news channel, so like there's a freedom of press thing where you could show a little bit, but not all of it.
All of it, okay.
So okay, cool, lesson learned. But then it went with like the commercial, you know, after because the commercial leaked after the lawsuit thing popped off for the art book, and I was like, Okay, well, Nintendo's probably going to start copyright striking any leaked footage, and this is leaked footage. This isn't images, art book images, where they might just slap it down because it's not, no one knows that this stuff's even in the game. Leaked footage is leaked footage, and even if it leaks from Nintendo. So I sat there and I was like, well, I'm going to talk about what's in it because there really wasn't that much in it anyways.
Right.
It just sort of clarified things we already saw and stuff we already knew, like the name of an enemy. Okay, we sort of kind of figured that might be a name. But I was like, you know what I am going to do, though? I am going to put the commercial in. I'm just going to blur the damn thing because I'm not stupid. Just blur it. Don't have the audio play and blur it. What are we talking about? Like, this is what we're talking about. It's out there if you guys want to find it. I'm just going to blur it. And the video's still up till this day.
It must be my paranoia, but I like anytime something like that happens, I'm like, oh God, like I can't. If I woke up the next day and my channel is, has strikes on it or a shutdown, like that.
Yeah, I got a strike over the Lego thing. I showed a smidge of the Lego Great Deku Tree thing, and Lego. Well, I found out in a hurry. Lego don't like. Well, thanks for confirming it's real, by the way. So that's cool. Besides that, they gave me a strike. So I was really scared when I put out the commercial thing because I was like, I saw someone trying to get striked. I'm like, well, yeah, but you were just showing the whole damn thing,
right?
You're not really gonna see it here. You'll kind of see it in the background, and it's a really weird commercial because part of the commercial Nintendo already released a week before, which was just reactions of the actor reactions. It's on Nintendo of America's YouTube channel, but this one has the footage spliced in. So I was like, well, do I just blur where the game is, or I blur the whole? You know what? I don't want to strike because I get 2 strikes and goodbye momentum. We're just gonna chill. We're gonna blur the hell out of it.
Well, and I always have this fear, like, okay, 1 strike, like you said, not really a big deal, but like, what does the algorithm think of that? Is there like a minus 50 points to your channel because you have a strike and so screw you? Like you never know.
It's kind of weird because I got the strike and then my channel went like this. So I don't.
You heard it here first.
Maybe the strike helped.
Get those strikes. You're gonna boost your channel.
Get on Nintendo's bad side.
Pat, I want to bring you in a bit because maybe not as much as Zelda, but with Animal Crossing, we covered a bunch of leaks and you covered data mines and things of that sort. I kind of have like 2 minds. I have like me, Zach mind, and then I have Switchforce mind where I'll evaluate a leak for myself and then I'll evaluate the leak for the channel. But do you think that like do you separate that? Do you look at the leak and say, okay, this could be true but not true enough for a video, or how do you decide whether you're going to put that content out there?
I think it depends on the source. Like when Animal Crossing had a bunch of leaks, when 2.0 was about to drop, there was like leaks of, but there wasn't really no reliable leaks until like much later on. I could have made 3-4 other videos about it, but I don't know. I feel like people maybe get the wrong idea about your channel. You're just trying to like put videos out, but I kind of just evaluate the leak and say like, how plausible is this? Does this sound, reasonable? I think like one of the leaks that was almost true mentioned Splatoon in Animal Crossing, which of course never happened. But I don't know, if I'm making a video like that, I'll just, the old grain of salt thing, like make your own decision. Here's what I'm hearing, and then kind of go over it that way. But I feel like if you're watching a leak video or, a rumor anyway, you shouldn't, believe it 100% anyway. Like you're there for the opinion. You're there, to see whether what Nate thinks about this or what Nate thinks about that. So I don't know. I feel like as a viewer, you should have expectations too, but I always disclose that.
So you think as long as you say take as a grain of salt, like that's your carte blanche, like anything's fair game then to cover?
I think so. I think a good video about leaks just kind of believes it. And it's like, let's talk about the possibility of it. Because if you make a video and it's like, well, let's talk about this fake leak. I know it's fake. Like, that's not very entertaining for people to watch. So I don't know. I think there's a responsibility for like a viewer and a creator. Luckily there was never any like images for 2.0. Like if there was, I probably would have blurred it or not shown it anyway. But I think it's the conversation is always interesting, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, like you said, it's very evident that if you believe in the leak, it's a much more exciting video. You can, throw confidence with exclamation points. You can hype people up at the start. But that thing you mentioned about being responsible about it, Nate, you know, with all due respect, people have said sometimes like, oh, you make stuff up just for clicks. I've been accused of clickbait myself. It's, you know, it's part of the job. Do you think there's a responsibility to actually believe in the leak, to talk about it, to cover it?
I mean, look, if you're gonna talk about it, and I've done this before where I've talked about a leak that I thought was 100% fake. I think I even put, hey, this is a really neat fake leak for blah blah blah, and yeah, it ended up being fake. But there's also what happens if it's not, and then you get bit. I think the responsibility mostly lies in how you cover it. Things that people get mad at me about is I'll mention a leak, and then I'll mention like actual facts from the past about how things have leaked in the past for other things. And then they go, oh, well, you're justifying that this is a real leak. No, I'm just explaining how this could be real. And then I give you the other side where I'm like, but here's the other side. And there's a lot of fake 4chan posts, a lot of fake this. It's really easy for anyone to just say something, you know, unverified, unvetted. I mean, even Jeff Grubb, who is someone who's an insider and has sources, he's made mistakes on this and had to apologize over the last year. So like, it's really easy to get faked out. And I think the things that I'm usually the most careful with are like, if I have my own source on something, like those are the ones that you really get in trouble for if you're not doing your due diligence.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just my thoughts on it, though. I don't know. Like
I think
there's plenty of stuff I haven't covered because I just didn't. I don't know. I just looked at it and I said, this is just dumb.
I think the new wrinkle that makes it, and I don't know, I mean, I'm curious to hear what both you think on this. There's this new wrinkle, and I see it pop up a lot on Fama boards, that like, oh, sites are picking up YouTubers' coverage, and it's super annoying to see YouTubers popularize these theories that then get picked up by comicbook.net or whatever, and then, you know, we're spreading this information that, yeah, maybe at the end of the video we say, okay, on my barometer of real fake, it's really fake, but the title and the thumbnail make it seem like this is news. Do we as YouTubers, do we have a responsibility to that side of it, to this coverage where then they're going to see, you know, Nate, if at the end of the video you do say, hey, I think this is fake, but your title is Zelda Final Boss Leaks, and then they pick up Zelda Final Boss Leaks, but really if they watch the video, oh, they'd see you say like, yeah, this is complete BS. Do we have a responsibility now with this new added threat of gaming news trying to basically pick up on our hype?
Yeah, it's interesting because what I didn't expect over the last few months with some of my videos to get picked up by some news websites kind of took me by surprise.
That Donkey Kong one.
The Donkey Kong one got picked up by a lot. And to be fair, like there was other sources on that publicly about it. So
yeah,
it's whatever. I didn't care about that one so much because it's a cancel game anyways. Like it's kind of one of those like true or not. It's a cancel game. So like it's whatever. It's just fun to dream. But on the other side of some of the other stuff that got shared out there, like there was one about I can't remember what it was. I think it was about about when I knew about the Tuesday event for the Zelda gameplay thing, and I put that out there the Saturday before. There was one website that picked it up and just started making up things that I said in my video. And to me, I don't really care. They can say what they want because I know the video itself already disproves what they were saying. But I sat there and it made me realize I don't think the onus is really on us. If you are a journalist out there writing at these websites, your job is to look into the stories that you're writing. And if you can't even bother to watch the video to gain the context and you're just making an article off the title, I mean, you're kind of just doing a bad job. I don't want to like insult anyone by name, but like kind of just not really doing your job if you're not looking into, like I have to look into things when I make videos. So why aren't you looking into it just because someone made a video? Like it's weird. I mean, we know the reason. It's for clicks. I mean,
sure.
Yeah. And it's not exactly, a bunch of news out right now either. It's like pretty dead. I mean, Nintendo hasn't been vocal about anything in the second half. So it's, yeah, if they see a video that's doing well or an idea that's a lot of people are talking about, I don't blame them for making an article. It does fall on the viewer too, but
And comicbook.com does that with like, if there's any rumor or leak getting popular on YouTube, they instantly make an article on it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of of two minds on this because on one hand, like I do feel like, hey, blatantly putting a misleading title for clicks is not good.
No.
Like, I won't call it by name, but there was a video I watched recently from a big Nintendo YouTuber. It wasn't about a Nintendo thing, where it said like, this just happened, and then in the video they straight up say, no, that didn't happen. So it's like, okay, why are we doing that?
Yeah.
But
there's got to be a fine line.
But at the same time, I do feel like, okay, and I felt this about clickbait for the longest time, like, if you watch the video and the video is explicit and clear on what's being covered and how it's being reported, if it's a rumor, if it's a leak, if it's fake or not, I also feel like we aren't responsible, that our title should define our content. And I think there's a lot of people use that. And, you know, for example, if I put out a video back in the Animal Crossing days that said, like, you know, 2.0 is real, question mark, exclamation, people, you know, instantly are tweeting, oh, 2.0 is not real, Nintendo hasn't announced. It's like, well, okay, well, watch the video and see what I have to say, see what I cover, see what I'm going through. I don't think then that these news sites that just pick up, like you said, the title, I don't know. I've seen people like Nate Drake and people on Fama boards respond negatively to my videos, your videos, and they're not watching the video. Now, I mean, a whole nother can of worms, like, do you need to watch the entire video to be able to speak on it? But in some ways, I think yes. I think
context.
It is context, and I think that, you know, the time old discussion is like, do you play the YouTube game, which is make an attractive title and thumbnail to exist and continue existing on this platform, or do you not? And, you know, I look at someone like an RGT and I say, man, he is playing the game really well and it's benefiting him very much. I have tried not to be as clickbaity as I used to be, and I think people have responded well to that. But it is a tough line, because there are times when I think I'm not being baity and people think I'm being baity, and then there's times when I'm trying to be baity and it still doesn't get views. So it is this very fine line where you have to try to think from the mindset of the fan, of the comicbook.com, of the Nate Drake, and you can't please everybody. Like there's no way to go about that. But I don't know, maybe this is old-fashioned to me. I think personal intentions mean a lot. They'll never know them, but like, if I don't intend to mislead people, I sleep okay knowing that even if, you know, Big Switch 922 says like, you're a effing clickbaiter, I hate this, whatever, like, I did not mean to do it, it's okay. And I think I don't know, we would know that. Like, no matter what we say on here, Pat, Nate, like, only we would know if we're intentionally trying to mislead or not. But to me, that's kind of like the only thing you can do is do the best job you can.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to react.
It's an interesting thing because, you know, like on that clickbait topic, you know, I wasn't really doing enticing titles and thumbnails for a long time, because I was always the staunch, I don't want to clickbait. And I had some conversations with some pretty big YouTubers about it, and they're just basically like, hey, look, you know, just type in Nintendo Switch and look at the top videos, look at all the trending videos. Look at what Mr. Beast does, even though it's a totally different category. Just look at all the, like, you either do a little bit of it or a lot of it in some cases, or you are just going to be a viewer watching other people do it. Kind of the way social media has gone. And it's weird because, you know, I'm, you know, 36. I didn't really grow up with social media. Social media became part of my life later after I became an adult. So, like, I didn't really understand. I was more of an old school mentality, but then you check your newspaper and there's clickbait titles there. You would turn on the news, they're clickbaiting all the time. So it's sort of just become this thing that I feel like was probably driven by the social media era. And I think I kind of changed my mind on it now to look, if what's in my title is talked about in the video and given the full context, the title makes sense, then I don't really care how much it might seem like you might mislead or misthink it in your mind if the title makes sense after you watch the video. And that's kind of my stance on that. And as long as the dislike ratio is really good and there's growth, which obviously I've been growing, so it's been working, then what I'm not really that worried about it. And if there's going to be people out there saying disparaging stuff, I've seen some in the live chats. It's cool. You don't have to like me. I'm okay with it. Like, I'm not gonna get liked by everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. The title
and
of
it's hard to stomach sometimes. Like, people are just gonna dislike me without knowing me, and you know what? Life.
No matter what you do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, a title of "I found an article online. It might be true." Doesn't hit as well as some of the other. Like, you have to market your video. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't.
I mean, that's really what it is. It's marketing.
Yeah.
To me, the video is the content. The title and the thumbnail is just the marketing to get you to watch the content.
Now, I do think there's one area that we should dive in a little deeper, which to me does feel different, and that is when we are ourselves the source of the rumor or leak. If we're reporting on the buyer uncle who says that PS5 Pro and whatever, if we're reporting on, Jeff Grubb, or like, at that point, I feel like so much of the onus is out of our hands. We're literally just covering what someone else has said. But when we bring it up, I start to feel a little shakier. I tried this one time and it backfired horribly on me.
I remember
this was last year. I got an email, and I swear on my grave the email was legit. I didn't type this to myself or whatever. It was a legit email, but I jumped the gun on what the email meant. And I tried making the thing as like, I'm the source, there's a direct coming, and I was completely wrong. And I had to own up to it, and I really didn't like that. I really did not like being the one responsible for, like, I like commenting, but I don't like being responsible. And I've noticed, Nate, that you have, I feel like, maybe I just haven't watched as much in the past, but I feel like more and more you're having sources yourself, or things that you're bringing, or that guys from your crew are bringing. So, like, let's talk about that email. You had that email that you got about, like, a Zelda Direct, I think is what they had said, coming that week.
It wasn't an email. It was an in-person interaction.
Okay, in-person interaction. Wasn't there an email, or was that not you? Was there some email about a...
I think that was Mike Odyssey got an email about our Direct.
Okay. Well, so I guess whatever. But
it's okay, a lot of people found out through me because it's a bigger channel.
Yeah. So these things happen, and, like, I'm just gonna put it bluntly. Like, what is your process? Are you how do you go about hearing this stuff and deciding if you're gonna cover it? And what would you say to people that say you're just making this stuff up?
So I actually went to, there's some people that someone get comments, you need to go to journalism school. I actually went to journalism school a while ago.
Okay.
I did not finish my degree because I was already a journalist for a few different websites at the time, and I just like, well, the degree is just going to put me right where I'm at now, so what do I care? That's why I didn't finish it. But you learn a lot. The reason that people will say that is because in journalism school you learn a lot about sourcing and when you should come forward with a report, and that always requires multiple sourcing, like verified actual sources that are completely independent of each other. That's when you want to come forward. I didn't necessarily do that with the Donkey Kong story because I didn't care that much about it. It was hey, this is a thing that doesn't exist anymore anyways. So, like, the relevancy of it was a long time ago. And it was nice to see, like, other people since they did come out. Like, I think Nate the Hate came out, Nate Drake, and he said, yeah, there was a game in the work by them at one point for Donkey Kong. Okay, cool. I mean, it doesn't really matter and he said it too, because it's been canceled for a while.
Sure.
But on other things that are actually relevant in my mind, like the Donkey Kong one just sounds cool, but it's not really relevant anymore. The Zelda one is an example. Oh, there's going to be a game, I didn't say gameplay outlaw because I didn't want to give too much away because it might have tipped Nintendo off on who I heard it from, but there was going to be a Zelda event happening on the following Tuesday. And then the Next Level Games potentially being the company working with on the new F-Zero game. I think those are the two that right now I have floating out there that I'm the source on. It's interesting because in my process, one, obviously you don't want to be wrong. Anytime you're wrong, that's one, you got to own it. Like Jeff Grubb owned it last year. I mean, you got to own it. When you're wrong, you're wrong. And you owned it last year too. I try to go with the double sourcing. So on the Zelda one and on the F-Zero one, I had double sourcing from people that, I mean, I can't give away too much, but they're people that they would be knowledgeable of this stuff. And when I'm that confident in it, I'll come forward with it. What I won't do is like if someone emails me that I don't know and I check their email out. I try to check their background, and I can't really for sure make out that they're actually, say, an employee at Nintendo, or say they're the person they say they are. It's a little bit of a sticky process, because I then come off as someone who is just trusting someone who randomly emailed you. And I'm not okay with that. There was a time I was, before I went to journalism school, I would share stuff like that at some of the websites, and then I realized that's a really stupid idea, because really you're putting your reputation and the reputation of the website on the line, or in my case now, my reputation and the YouTube channel's reputation on the line for something that you can't verify at all. So that's sort of where I'm at, is that I make sure now that I have double sourcing, and that I actually know who these people are. That's why I said, like, the Zelda one, literally talked to the person who, like, the main one I originally got it from, talked to him in person. I know them, known them a long time. I know where they used to work, so I understand how that all works. But I'm gonna be honest, I don't like it, because even when you know you're right, people still get mad at you. I know the Tears of the Kingdom Reddit in particular does not like me at all. Doesn't matter how right I've been on some stuff. It doesn't matter to them. So I just, honestly, I'd rather not be the source on anything. And I've never once reached out to anyone that I know to ask them for information. It just, they come to me, and it seems weird to say that. So that's sort of my process on that. I don't really think that much about it, because it's really only recently that I've been the source on a few things, and I have no idea if and when I'll be a source on stuff in the future, because I don't seek it out. I'd rather be like you. I'd rather have that degree of separation. Like, a lot of people thought I'm the one that said the Zelda Direct. No, that was a different YouTuber who I haven't seen anything. I have no idea. And he said in his video it's an email. Okay, it's an email. Would I personally make something on it? No, but now I have a degree of separation where I want to talk about it, because I would like there to be a Zelda Direct. But, I go in there, but hey, remember, this is a rumor that came from an email. I can't verify any of it. And I think some people think that it's on me to vet other people's sources, and I don't even know how you can do that, to be honest. What am I supposed to do? Reach out to Zach and be like, Zach, who's the guy you know? Give me his contact information. Let me talk to him.
Yeah. I mean, I think you make some good points there, and drama is like a whole category on YouTube, right? People talk about, the makeup, the beauty YouTubers. There's drama between celebrities. For some reason, there's a lot of anger around gaming, drama or gaming leaks. And I'm sitting here trying to think, why is that? What is the... I don't know. I've seen a lot of different drama channels in the past, and yeah, they get some hate, but it's not the anger that I feel that gaming channels get, because there's something about, like, man, if you're lying to us about the game, or if this doesn't end up true, or we didn't want to know this, or you got us falsely excited, do you think it's just the fandom of gaming that we're so excited for these games to come out? Like, what is it that makes this hate, appear for drama that other places would be more well received?
Well, like as enough, like, gaming leaks and rumors, Reddit is never going to get hate for what they're doing, because that's what they are, right? Like, there's going to be a lot of fake stuff. There's going to be a lot of real stuff. That's just the way it goes. There's no hate thrown their way. I think when it comes to Nintendo YouTubers in general, like, I just remember the real turn in attitude, I think, and you might have recognized this too, happened after, I would say, 2020, 2021, when we had all those Switch Pro reports. And then when that didn't happen and didn't come out, or at least didn't come out with what we thought it was going to be, and we got the OLED. From that point forward, I think that's when I really noticed a lot of people just get really upset about leaks and rumors. And not everyone. There's still plenty of people excited. That's why the videos perform well. But there's still always going to be that contingent that since then, yeah, it's all BS. You're all making stuff up. Yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
That's when I saw the...
I think that really is hitting the nail on the head. And I think there's a different threshold for every channel and every person. I think some people are able to really get away with saying, like, this is this rumor, and people are like, oh, okay, cool, it's a rumor. And then if a different person says the exact same rumor, they're like, you're lying to us. You're bad. You're misleading us. And I think that just, I guess, depends on your audience, the videos you've made before. how you sort of handle things, and maybe even some intangibles. You know, maybe some people just subconsciously are more believable. Maybe some people are less believable. You know, whatever that kind of goes with. Maybe you're an unassuming type, you know, personality. But I gotta say, I didn't really expect, Nate, you to come in with as much responsibility as you did. I feel like you're a good guy, and I feel like you're trying to do right by the audience. And I think most people would have kind of came and said like, oh, you're here to grow your channel, you're here to, you know, get the clicks, you're here to whatever. But I don't get that sense.
I mean, look, growing the channel and clicks is nice. I mean, Tears of the Kingdom is the hot trending topic, and I make a lot of Zelda videos. What some people might not know is I used to run a website called Zelda Informer. That was a really big Zelda news website back in the day. And that's what I did. I made Zelda content every day. So this is like right in my wheelhouse. So I'm excited when a new Zelda game comes out. It only happens once every 6 years, apparently now. Yeah. So let me have this, okay? I'm sorry if you're tired of the Zelda content. There's going to be more. But no, like, look, obviously when I changed the titles and the thumbnail approach, a lot of that was to gain more views and grow, because you want that stability in your life when you're doing this. And when you're, I went full time 4.5 months ago. It's like, it's a scary thing. And you want to make sure that you can support your family. I've got children to worry about. But I also always want to be honest. And I think what some of my longtime viewers will know is that when you watch the videos, if you actually watch them, don't just title surf and hit the dislikes and get angry. Actually watch the videos. I really care about the information. I care about the conversation. And I'm completely honest about all of it. I am an open book. I've done even things like shown off, like, hey, here's the revenue and here's where it all comes from. I don't care. I literally just want people to know that I'm a passionate Nintendo fan, and I just want to talk about video games. And I'm fortunate enough that I get to now do that full time, which is really cool.
Yeah,
Zach is surprised you're a nice guy, Nate.
What a turn to be an asshole.
No, I think, I think there's a public perception, and then there's a personal actuality, and sometimes those things match up and sometimes those things don't. And there's 2 points I kind of want to cover next. And one, Nate, you and I kind of deal with this, I think, in a similar way. We make a ton of content. And I think this is something that the viewer maybe doesn't consider. When you're beat 'em ups and you make one video every other week, it doesn't matter what the reason is, because you scheduled your channel that way, because that's how long it takes. But when you do that, it's pretty hard to have, whatever, clickbait or bad things, because you're covering the biggest topics landmark by landmark. But when you make 2-3 videos a day, like, some stuff is going to be real and some stuff is going to end up false. And I feel like the viewers would say, well, make less videos, but I don't think there is an understanding that when you make as much content as a channel like you or I make, if literally all we covered was Nintendo's official announcements, well, we wouldn't be making videos for you guys anymore. Like, I mean, that's just a straight up fact. And
most weeks there's nothing interesting happening.
And so that's not to say that we're falsifying information. And I think, you've said it yourself, and I can say it. We're not making up info. Nobody is going, okay. I mean, rest in peace to my late great friend Gabe. But Gabe one time had this idea. He was like, what do you think about if Gabe, just started making up a bunch of leaks? I made a Twitter and posted leaks, and then you could report on the leaks. And I was like, dude, we cannot go down that road, because even though that's lucrative, and even though people have attempted that, we've seen, what's that guy's name from Nintendo Life? John, where he's had like the fake Twitter as like an experiment. It can work, but like, I will feel like a horrible person. Like, there's no way I could ever do that. And
it's not real. Yeah.
And so I now don't think you're making up information, Pat. I don't think you're making up information. So nobody is maliciously like, well, let's drum up the, Metroid Prime 4 is coming out. But there's a comment in my chat that I want to bring up to you guys, and I think, just curious your response. Ava says, I would never ever hate, but to me it's like boy who cries wolf, and I don't click again. The issue there that I take with that, Ava, is in that case, the boy who cried wolf would be, say, Nate Drake or Mike Odyssey or Jeff Grubb. It would not be us. And I think that distinction doesn't get made by the viewer. I think we become the content, like we become the rumor. And in reality, that's super far from the truth.
Yeah. It's like I tell people, there's very few things that you can actually look at and go, oh, he's the source. Yeah, it's very few, like 3 things. And there's a reason that it's 3 things, because I don't like being the source and I don't seek it out. Do I know a few people? Sure. I've been fortunate enough to meet people through trips to E3 and other stuff, but I don't abuse contacts. If anything, sometimes I reach out to them and just say, hey, here's a rumor from somebody else. Is it, should I report on this? Is it real? And usually you just get like a non-answer. Sometimes you'll get a no, it's not real. But yeah, I understand the boy who cried wolf thing. And again, that's part of getting sick of watching leaks and rumor videos when so many might not be true. I also try to remind people that, some of my content is news, very much, and some of it is just discussion. And like you guys run off to your forums and your Twitters and your Discord servers, and you're having all these gaming conversations with your friends, and you might talk about things on the playground, like back in the day we used to talk about Sega versus Nintendo, and like we're still like have that in us, and we want to talk about, or at least I still want to just have those discussions. And I know the caveat is, and the big difference between you talking to your friends and me talking on a YouTube channel is I do make money to talk about it. And that might taint some of your views of what I'm saying. But in the end, I just want to talk about games, and rumors and leaks are just kind of fun. They were fun when I was just a viewer. I used to always seek out rumors and leaks when I was a kid. You're watching G4 TV and hoping that, oh yeah, this thing might have leaked, or you're getting your gaming magazine open and you get that fake screenshot of Wind Waker that isn't really Wind Waker. Or the fake movie trailer by IGN back in the day. Like all that stuff, even though it wasn't real, I never really felt bummed out. It was like I had so many exciting conversations and met so many people through those conversations that I don't know, I just kind of still do that to this day. And the gaming leaks and rumors are just fun to talk about. Like they just are. Like even that Reddit one might not be real. That's fine. But also, damn, did I really enjoy making that video. And I think it's important I enjoy what I do, because if I don't, then at that point, you're just making videos for money.
And I think some of that is just sort of the platform that we have and what that artificially means. Because like you said, in all actuality, it's kind of like we're the friend who you're talking about the fun rumor on the playground. But given that we're Nintendo YouTubers, given that we have, X thousand subscribers, it's viewed as like this person is the source. And no matter how many times we say, like you said, Pat, take it with a grain of salt, or we're not the source, we're given sort of a pedestal that, we could go down a whole psychological wormhole, but we didn't ask to be viewed as like the all-knowing. I don't think anyone did. I think what you said is actually really spot on. Like and Pat, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to speak for you, but I also want to be viewed as like the fun friend that you discuss Nintendo stuff with. I try to make my videos positive and exciting and uplifting and interesting. And there's no ill will about talking about something that could be cool, because I like having the conversation. Thinking about the Switch 2 all summer of 2020 was hella nice, especially with COVID and all that going on. It was really exciting. And I mean, I had countdowns to when this was supposed to come out, or this, GameStop was supposed to put this in their system. And it didn't pan out, but like you said, we had fun. Wasn't the fun worth it not being real? And some people would say no, because I got my hopes up and then I was let down. And I guess it just depends on your personality. But for me, one of the great things about being a Nintendo YouTuber is that there is this leak community. We don't see that as much with Xbox. Like, sure, there'll be something like Hi-Fi Rush, didn't perform to expectations. Well, great leak, real exciting. Let's talk about, the math of Game Pass. But we get like Zelda boss, Zelda dungeon, the new Mario, this week. Like that to me is one of the best parts of being a Nintendo fan. And rather than hate it, I think embrace it, because you're getting thrills and chills that maybe end up being false, but at least you had the thrills and chills. And I don't know if that's copium because we're the YouTubers, but it's true. Like we have much more fun getting excited for directs, even if we're let down, than the person who just sits there even keel and says like, well, it'll happen when it happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what you said about like just looking at the surface level of things like thumbnails, titles, you both come out with stories, or report on stories, but you're never saying like, this is true. You're saying like, if it is true, or this person is saying this, how possible is this? The other thing that we haven't talked about yet is after all of this stuff is done, like I'm sure all of us will go back to this Reddit leak. Dude, if they got everything right, they are now a reliable source, right? For like other things. That's the exciting part for me. Because it's all, you live and die by your last leak, so people
their user account gets bookmarked on my side.
Exactly. So if they do come out with another thing, it's like, well, this person was spot on about this. And I've seen you both do that, where it's like, Zach was like, oh, back in whatever, this person reported on this, so there's a little bit of truth to it. I think leaks are fun. It's literally, like you said, on the playground type thing. But, I think the delivery from all three of us is there. I don't think it's like, oh, this is happening. I think it's just, here's what's floating around. Is this possible? Is it true? So
I think sometimes we worry a little too much about it because, and I've noticed this, like, as my channel's grown, there's a lot that feels like there's a lot bigger audience being negative towards what you're doing. But in the grand scheme, it's really not any bigger percentage wise than it was when you had a smaller audience.
Yeah.
They're just, they're loud, they're vocal. And then sometimes you ignore all the really nice comments that actually make up a majority of everything you're seeing.
Yeah.
It's really easy to get caught up in that. And then we care too much about, are we clickbaiting this or that? Or look at the numbers. This video performed very well, but look at the number of hate comments. Yeah, but it's got a 98% like to dislike ratio. Yeah, but nobody cares about that because there's like 50 comments and they're hating on me. Yeah, but there's 700 comments.
Yeah.
Like,
I think the best mental health move any longtime creator can make is to try and just not pay as much attention, like you said. Not that you don't care, not that it's not important, not that it's not, good to, interact with your audience or whatever, but to not give it the weight that it can take over, in your head. And I think the other point that I just wish everybody would intrinsically know is that there will never be a day where Nintendo Prime or Switch Force or NintenTalk report on like a big Nintendo thing first. Like, people always say, oh, I thought you were announcing the new console. Oh, I thought you were like, guys, make sure you're following Nintendo of America on Twitter, and trust me, you'll hear it from them first. There will never be a time where any of us announce the Metroid Prime 4 release date, or like, it just won't happen. So to view it as if like, oh, well, I thought you were saying the Switch 2 was out. I thought you were saying Animal Crossing 2.0 was out. To me, it's just so silly. And I don't want to put blame on the audience, but it's like, we are never going to be the groundbreaking source for, Nintendo's next big announcement.
Follow all of Nintendo socials. That's what I do.
Yeah.
You want the official stuff, that's what you do. And then when it's big enough, I'll make a video on it, but I might not even be the first video that gets made on it. Like, that's, the race to be first on stuff is sometimes a little insane out there. And there's a reason it's insane, because if you could be like, Nintendo tweets out a direct and you're the first one to drop a video on it on YouTube, it can be beneficial. But there's millions of people, millions of channels trying to be that first.
Right. And you know what I've noticed lately? There is sort of this like delayed golden spot where if you report on something like 3 days late, it almost seems like you do better because it feels like it could be a new thing. Like, if you and I
rid of the rush, yeah,
and then it's like, oh wait, is that the direct they were talking about? Or is this a different direct? And it's like, man, oh man, like whoever concocted that timeline is real smart, because they didn't have to rush, they didn't have to get up early, they just somehow hit this sweet spot.
Yeah, I wish I did that with like the last piece of Zelda combat footage that came out, because a bunch of people got it out first, because I just decided I'm going to sleep all morning. I'm not going to cover it right now. I'll cover it later. I felt like if I would have waited till like this weekend to put the video out, probably would have did pretty well, because people would have been like, hey, is this one I've seen before? I don't know. It's not happening at the same time as the other videos.
It's fair.
But I haven't caught on to that timing yet. I gotta keep that in the back of my mind. Hey, if I missed the best timing, just let it breathe for a couple days.
Yeah, exactly. I do want to bring us back a little bit to Tears of the Kingdom specifically before we open it up to questions, which is to say, what do we think is going to leak between now and May 12th? We have an art book, we have a commercial, we have potentially game information.
The game itself,
you think it's going to get ripped and
everything?
Every Switch game gets ripped.
But it'll all be. You think everything's going to be out there?
I think so.
I think a week before launch, as soon as retailers have copies, it's leaked. It happens with every Switch game, and especially the major ones. I mean, even just look at Pokemon last year; it leaked as well. And I'm not talking about the summer leaks. I'm talking about the game itself leaked. So it happens with every major Switch game, because it's really easy to do, and there's a lot of retailers willing to either sell the game early or give it to people behind the scenes.
Yeah, I honestly
know
think
why-
like from now to release, like we should be on high alert. I'm literally waiting for gameplay and stuff to pop up. Like I just think it's gonna happen.
Yeah. So like I think we're probably safe next week. The week after, that's when I think you start worrying a little bit. Next week, I mean, I heard there might be some media previews, which is cool. Like that, we're gonna get that, but that's not leaks. That's intended coverage.
Sure.
Besides the whole game getting leaked, which I think will happen probably either the Monday of the week it comes out or the Friday before. I don't really know what else I expect. Like everything that could leak has. I mean, I guess if someone gets their hands on one of those controllers early, maybe. But then no one's really gonna care as much about that because I mean, oh, it looks like the pictures. Yeah, it looks like the pictures. It's a Switch Pro controller. So
no,
I don't
secret
really
features, huh?
I don't really know besides the full game leak, which is bound to happen. What else could possibly leak at this point? Because we already got the art book. I mean, I guess someone could leak like the pin set or something like that because we haven't actually seen all of the pins in the pin set of the collector's edition yet.
To me, I think a big story, and obviously this would indicate that the full game leaked, but I think the big leak story would just be a confirmation of dungeons or no dungeons. I feel like that would be carried pretty far and wide.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that that's just in the official news. Like the previews dropped this week or something from a demo event, and they're like, "Yes, we played a dungeon. What? Done.
Yeah."
Then I don't have to worry about it leaking.
All we want to hear.
If that leaks, if it's actually a leak from the full game leaking, because I have this thing where once the full game leaks, I don't cover the leaks for the game anymore. And if that's how I find out about it, I'm gonna be like, "But I really want to make a video on this, and I can't."
Yeah.
So. Be in the official media, please.
That would be really nice. And if the official media is that there's not dungeons, then I don't want it. Then leave it till I play the game. Let me be heartbroken.
Well,
on my own
leave
time.
till the reviews the day before because they'll be able to talk more. And then the reviews are like, "Oh, there's no dungeons. Oh, great."
Will
Let
you
me
be,
deal with that.
We talked about that, me and Pat, last week. Like, what would be sort of the like big, really ruin your mood in Tears of the Kingdom, like playing the actual game? Would that be the thing? If there were no dungeons, would you be really, really bummed?
It would be a little bummer to see. Breath of the Wild's my favorite game, so clearly it's not like I need there to be big sprawling dungeons. Like I always thought I did need that because that's what I loved about Zelda, but then it's like, oh, now they introduced all this other stuff I like more. So I think to me the big thing is the boss fights. I always like the culmination of the boss fights, and as long as we still have some epic encounters like that throughout the game that are different and varied, unlike what it was like in Breath of the Wild, where it's sort of the same boss four times with slightly different moves, then I think I'll still be okay. Because, I mean, if people think about it honestly, in Breath of the Wild, there were still a lot of puzzles. Lots of puzzles. So I think we're still going to get... We've already seen that there's puzzles in Tears of the Kingdom. So, but it would be a little disappointing if they didn't... Because technically there were 4 dungeons in Breath of the Wild, so it would be weird if they didn't have them at all. So it would be pretty disappointing because I feel like, hey, everyone thinks that's the thing you can do better, and well, now you've had 6 years and you didn't do that. Well, then what else did you do? Because what else you did better like blow my mind in a new way.
Everything can be combined. Everything can be fused together. That's
the whole world's a giant dungeon. I have no idea. I think they tried that in Skyward Sword. I don't know that went well.
There's gonna be something comparable to that though. Like we got the 120 shrines in Breath of the Wild. There's gonna be something.
Yeah, I don't think you can take out shrines and take out dungeons and say like it's a sequel. Like
Zonai shrines.
Yeah, I think there's those curly Q teal things going on.
I'm thinking there's some. I don't know if there's 120, but I think there's some.
Gotta be something. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say we do have questions. That was a good segue.
Yeah, let's open it up. If you have questions for any of us, throw them in our chats.
I do have some in Discord.
Oh, cool.
Kyle says, question, and I'm curious about you guys. What do you make of the Korok with a backpack seen in the trailer? Just a cute traveler? Salesman? Something else? Nate, I know you've seen that.
Of course I've seen it. I think that there might be a side quest associated with him. And he's clearly, I mean, if you look at what he says, he's clearly looking for like a brother or a friend, family member thing. So what's cool though is that he's just like right there by his stable, which it makes me think maybe there's no Korok seeds this time around. They could have replaced it with something else, which is fine. To be fair, I don't think they should do Korok seeds again. I felt like Korok seeds was just a joke
900 of anything is not good for a game.
But I do think that he's a traveler. Some of them might have some quests. That one I think might have a quest, and then yeah, I'm just curious to see what the Korok's role is in this game in general, because it looks like the Great Deku Tree might be gone. So,
Zach, didn't you say that they were confirmed?
They're not confirmed, but in that leaked commercial, there is like one of the little like my mind's saying crop circle, but that's not what it is. It's like the little like the stone ring, like the, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The ring with the spiral around it.
But the rocks, like I'm not describing this well. In the commercial, the leaked commercial, people were pointing to like a Korok ring.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The Koroks are going to have a role, and I think it's going to be new in this game, and I'm pretty excited about that.
I would love to see, and I don't think this is a spoiler because I don't know one way or the other, but I would love to see the Minish sort of replace the Korok role, and like you have to find little Minish. That would be amazing. We got the mushrooms in the village shown off in the trailer, so
got the mushrooms, and in Breath of the Wild there was official art that they released at one point showing that they actually thought about putting the Minish in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, so if they could do that, I think that would be perfect. That would be awesome.
If I could shrink again, bring Ezreal back, let's go.
Izzy wants to know what is something we don't want to find added in Tears of the Kingdom.
Don't want added.
Like if this feature or element was in there, we don't want it to be in there. Weapon degradation? I mean, that's gonna be. You do? Okay.
I like it. I think it just added a lot of variety to the combat because it made you have to think. I know some people don't like because they broke too easy, and to be fair, they sort of addressed that with the fusion thing. Your weapon's almost broken, fuse it with something in the environment quick, and then it gets durability back.
Yeah.
So that's I think they tried to balance both worlds there, because what I tend to get into a habit, and I found this with other Zelda games, we get all those items, but I'm really just using one item the whole game for everything. It's either my bow or my sword. I'm not really using anything else. And so what this did is like, oh, sometimes I'm using a two-hander, sometimes I'm using a one-hander, sometimes I'm throwing a boomerang. I probably wouldn't have that big of a variety if the weapons didn't break. I would just find the weapon I like best, and that's what I use all the time. Instead, I'm using my favorite weapon, and it breaks in combat, and I'm like, oh, well, what am I going to use now? All I got left is a long stick from a Bokoblin. Well, you know what? Let's get creative. Let's break out the bombs. Let's see what arrows I have left that I don't want to use yet, because I was trying to save my one bow to fight the Lionel, but you know what? Now I got to use it. And to me, it just added a lot of variety to it. But I understand why a lot of people don't like it. I don't recall any other game I've played to date from any system anywhere that had a durability system quite like this. Almost every game that had a durability system you could repair, and we can't repair. So I'm really hoping that they add a repair system, which we still don't know if that's in this game. But
I would hope so with the fusion stuff. It'd be really disappointing if you made this like great combo and then they're like, it's gone.
Yeah, and that's the one thing, we haven't seen a fusion weapon break, so how much durability does it actually add? That's something I'm curious about, because if it only adds like 3 swings, well then okay.
Yeah, I think in one of the trailer or the gameplay trailer or something, when they did fuse it with the rock, it said like +3 durability or something, but I don't know what the plus.
Yeah, but I don't know what that means. Like, no one knows what the stats mean.
Yeah. Something for me that I would be disappointed in is if every item couldn't interact with fusing or arrows, or like, I want to see weird combinations. I want to see meat arrow. You know, I want every
That's definitely a thing.
Yeah, like I want to see every item be, no matter what it is, like a steak or whatever.
I would be disappointed if Ultra Hand, where we build our vehicles and stuff, if the game limits our ability to bring all the materials together in one area, or limits how big of a thing we can make. Because I would personally think it felt like we had no limits in Breath of the Wild with those abilities. Your imagination was your limit. And I want that to be the case here. Like, if I could put in the time and gather all of the interactable materials from the sky and the ground and bring them all to Central Hyrule Field and build a floating castle, you should just let me do it. If I put in that time,
let me add that to my video list for May 12th. Try to combine everything into one.
That's literally what I'm gonna see. Like, can I drag items? Can I kick a log off the top of the Sky Island and have it appear down below? Or if I can't, can I make a flying vehicle, bring that down there,
carry it,
set it there? Yeah, like I want, like we saw that you can carry people can I carry all the materials to one area, or will it not matter because you limit how big I can make something or how many materials can interact together? There's limitations there could be. The only ability that they did mention specific limitations for was ascend. They said you can't ascend through everything. There's limitation. They literally said that. However, they never said there was limitations with Ultra Hand, which makes me go, please tell me.
Here's hoping.
You're gonna let me build that floating Bowser.
Yeah,
castle.
that would be incredibly sick. The one that I don't want probably will be in there, but on replaying Breath of the Wild, the thing that annoyed me the most is the very quick double loads into shrines and out of shrines. And I know we're dealing with the same hardware, but me and Pat were talking about, I would love if shrines were somehow in the overworld. We saw sort of that like floating Death Star thing that Link lands in. There's a puzzle in there, so it would be cool to me if shrines were just more world puzzles and not load into, I don't know. Those loads are just kind of annoying.
And they had some of that in Breath of the Wild, but a lot more of it would be very much appreciated.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's another interesting one from Angela. It's a two-parter. I'll just read the second one. I've noticed that there isn't a single guardian shown in Tears of the Kingdom, and all of the dead ones from Breath of the Wild have been removed. Do you think they'll make a return, or are they a thing of the past? That's kind of interesting. I don't think I've seen a guardian.
There's technically one still on top of the research tower.
Okay.
That one hasn't been removed. That's the only one that I've seen though. They've obviously removed them. We've seen already part of Hyrule where there used to be a bunch and they're gone. So there's been a time jump of some sort, however many years it's been. And I think we know that already because Tulin is significantly older than he was in Breath of the Wild. He was like a little chick. And now he's more like that 12-year-old, that edgy 10, 12-year-old age. So he's clearly aged up a bit. So it's been a handful of years, I feel like. So I think they did clean up Hyrule. I think there's that one shot in the trailer where they show what looked like the old Guardian arms all coming out at Link, like he's interacting with some tablet or something. I think what happened is they tore down the Guardians and repurposed their materials into other tech. That's what I think anyways, just based on what we've seen. So
yeah. Plus, that's a very like Breath of the Wild's marketing thing to show these like crazy guardians. I feel like it doesn't hit as hard if you're putting it in a Tears of the Kingdom trailer or something. So they might be there. They're just probably not showing them because it's like something we've done already. But
and to be fair, we haven't really seen much Sheikah tech at all because the Guardians were Sheikah tech. So far, the only real references to it were that one scene where we saw like the old arms maybe grabbing Link. We have no idea. And then now that we've seen him actually have a slate in his hand when he's going up that tunnel, that was cool, but we still don't really know what's going on. Good old Nintendo. Tease us.
I love that the game is mysterious. I'm really glad that, I'm sure, like you said, over the next 2.5 weeks, it will become a lot less mysterious, but I hope
it's still gonna be mysterious.
I hope it's really intentional of them that they did want to sort of recreate some of the, allure that old games had when you'd pick up the original Legend of Zelda and say, I have no idea what the heck is going to happen beyond the first screen. That to me is super cool, and I hope that there are some big mysteries that they don't make a 7.5-minute overview trailer covering everything the day before launch.
I mean, I think there's going to be a lot. With Breath of the Wild, they blew out a lot, right? They showed us a lot of stuff. We had the hands-on demo at E3, and then all the treehouse footage on top where they went to some extra areas, and then we had the 2017 trailer, the final one. They showed a lot of that game, and even then, after playing the game, it still felt like once you got off the Great Plateau, there's just so much they didn't show us. And I feel like that's going to be the case here, where whatever they do show us is going to feel like less than 5% of the game. So it's going to be pretty hard to be... I think it's like Breath of the Wild, where it's like impossible to show too much because they're just story-wise, it's not, of course. I mean, they can always you don't want the story spoiled, but just gameplay mechanic-wise, like even just look what they've shown with the abilities with Fuse and Ultra Hand. It's been very basic, minimal things they've been showing because that's why it took us like such a surprise when we saw like the arm moving up and down the little Rock'em Sock'em robot mech that they made to fight the Stone Talus. It's like. That's just a tease that you can do some crazy things. We're not really going to show you a lot of that, though.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm playing Breath of the Wild again, and I'm finding new things, and it's been what, like 7 years?
Forever.
6 years. Aunt Bacon says, do you think the previous abilities will return? Ice, magnesis, etc. Bombs. Will bombs be an item? I would prefer bombs as an item. I don't want people just spamming bombs.
We'll have bomb arrows because we'll be able to combine something for an explosion. And we saw that cannon thing, which sort of was like a bomb, like throwing a bomb, but the cannon. I don't know. Like the fact that we saw the slate, like Zelda's held the slate in official art. We've seen Link now with a different type of slate as well. I feel like maybe there's a chance that the abilities could come back, but I don't know.
Is that too much power though?
My dream, and it won't happen. It won't happen, but my dream is that there is a moment where you get to play as Zelda with the old abilities.
That was the original theory when they saw her holding the slate. Was, oh, Zelda will have the old abilities. There'll be a section of the game that you're playing as her.
Yeah.
And that still could be a thing, by the way. It doesn't have to be a multiplayer game for there to be a section that you play as Zelda, which isn't unheard of. We did it in Majora's Mask with a side quest. We played a section as a different character. So
yeah, unexpected character swaps are probably my secret favorite feature in games. Like anytime that hits, it's like it's just so good to mix it up. I don't know, I love that so much. Izzy wants to know if we think that Ava wants to know if we think that Tears of the Kingdom will eventually outsell Breath of the Wild.
100%.
If it's ported to the next system day one, because I feel like the caveat is the next system, because Breath of the Wild had 6 years to hit 30 mil. Now I think it's going to come out the gate faster. Like I think it'll hit 20 million faster than Breath of the Wild did. I don't know that it can cross 30 unless, backwards compatibility is a big thing. We don't know. There's a lot of things we just don't know anything about the next system, like definitively. So I think a lot is dependent on how that's handled and how they handle bringing games over to it. If it's just backwards compatibility, or if they decide they want to do, ports and 4K upres stuff, or both. I have no idea. So I think that's the big caveat here, because I don't think we have 6 more years of this Switch to build sales for. So,
the other caveat is, when is the next Zelda? Because if the next Zelda is in 3 years, maybe that changes things.
Yeah.
I mean, the install base, like you said, I think out the gate, look at what Scarlet and Violet did. They jumped out real quick, and I'm sure something similar will happen. But yeah, Breath of the Wild had 7 years of being the best game, so that's not,
It's kind of like a full circle thing too, because when Breath of the Wild launched with the Switch, there was nothing to play, quote unquote. So it's obviously you're gonna play Breath of the Wild. Not that there's nothing to play now, but
thanks
obviously.
for hating on snipper clips.
Super Bomberman R 1-2 Switch. None of that's.
Don't even Bomberman R. That was not great.
Hey, we got a second one coming. Come on now.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I just kind of feel like it's what else are you playing? Obviously, there's a bunch of games coming out, but that seems to be the summer game. I don't think Pikmin.
Remember, there's no more Switch games after Pikmin, so inevitably this is gonna sell 60 million or whatever. They got nothing.
It's the last game, last big game.
I think it's gonna be huge. I think it's gonna be huge.
It is gonna be huge.
Yeah. I lost the question, but Wavy, I believe, said something about, do you think it's going to rain as much? Do you think they tone that back a little bit? Do they come up with a system to kind of counteract that?
I think the system's there. It's Ultra Ham. You can fly.
That's true. The little rocket thing. Yeah.
I didn't even think about the rocket. That's another thing. Hey, in real life, we can still fire rockets off in the rain. Why can't we do it in the game? But I have no idea. Rain was obviously a big complaint in certain areas, which some areas made sense when you have a densely, forest that's kind of tropical. Obviously, it rains a lot there. That's why it is that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to see just more dynamic weather patterns in general. I'd like to see seasons instead of just areas that are. This is a snow area. I want seasons.
That would be cool.
So I don't know if they'll do it. Other games have, so why not?
Let me ask you guys a question. What is the justification for how Link goes from end of Breath of the Wild with huge stamina bar to inevitably small stamina bar at the start of Tears of the Kingdom? What happened to him?
Giant cutscene beginning, gets wrecked by Malice. Lost it all.
But he loses his internal stamina.
It's a dumb excuse. Yeah, it's
Zach, his arm got cut off. What do you expect?
Yeah, his arm is wrecked.
Zach thinks he's gonna be 100% with one arm. Come on.
And yet he still wakes up ripped with a 6-pack. So I don't,
So you're telling me, Pat, if you lose your arm, all of a sudden you can run.
Can't run anymore.
1/10 as far as you could before.
I mean, I could run. I don't know if I could take down a guardian with one arm.
Whatever excuse it is probably not going to be good enough. But it's a video game. It's just a video game reason.
I forgot about the whole thing. So when I restarted and I could run 12 feet, I was like, oh dear God, I can't believe that we're gonna have to do this all over again.
Too used to having 4 full stamina wheels.
Goodness gracious, what?
How did people play this game without all the stamina?
You know what the excuse is? He has altitude sickness from being up in the sky.
I see.
Oh, there you go.
It's harder to hike up in those mountains. That's a
lower oxygen.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one. Megan says, do you think motion controls are going to be the same as they are in Breath of the Wild? Do you think with these new abilities, more motion controls will be added? A lot of people forget that Breath of the Wild had the Wii U in mind with a lot of the shrines and things like that. Do you think we see that type of level at all? Where we're manipulating things with the controller and stuff? Everyone loves those puzzles, by the way.
Yeah, they're everyone's favorites. Especially when they found out their Joy-Cons maybe weren't working as intended. Or they're using a third-party controller, even better.
I think aiming will still have it, obviously.
Yeah, I don't think the aiming, the extra precision you can get shooting a bow and stuff, I think that'll stay. I think they'll be optional with flipping items, with Ultra Hand. You might be able to turn your controller and it might twist the item maybe. Optionally, you'll be able to do it with control sticks, I think, too. I don't know. I kind of feel like they might go away from it because I kind of feel like that was an aspect meant for the Wii U gamepad. And while you're playing in handheld, you could argue, oh, it's still with that. Yeah, but now you're tilting the screen away from you. I just kind of think that was a holdover from the Wii U days, and they might go away from a lot of. Now we've seen what looks like a motion-based puzzle already, where he's manipulating that object that moves, but I think he's doing that all with the control stick. I don't think he's actually physically moving the controller.
I would love to believe what you're saying, but I'm gonna go with I think
it's Nintendo.
I think that they are way
they're
more.
They're gonna put the IR camera in this thing.
Yeah, I think they're way more fascinated with their gyro and everything than we are. And I think that they will probably.
You're not wrong.
Probably keep.
I hope you got the leg strap from Switch Sports because that's gonna play a big part in there.
They're gonna make us use the ring from Ring Fit. Don't worry about it. Test of strength is now going to be literally a test of strength.
I mean, also think about it. They have used motion in Zelda since what? Since Twilight Princess. So that's been a lot of main releases in a row. Whether we like the motion or not, it feels like it's.
And then
they
gave us the motion game and gave us a way to play it without.
Yeah.
Nintendo's gonna Nintendo. That's just the way they do things.
Very, very much.
I'm very shocked that they have not made more use of that IR camera and just forced it into more games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many more sandwiches I can chomp from 1-2 Switch, but we eat in Breath of Watch. That's they haven't showed Link eating yet, and that's how we now
motion
eat.
Eating.
You must use the Joy-Con, and you must
eat
in front of the.
Well, you're making sandwiches in Pokemon, so I guess anything. Is
possible. Right. They got food. Food's a thing now. It's huge with Nintendo.
This might be early to think about, but Jan says, do you think Tears of the Kingdom will become Game of the Year just like Breath of the Wild did? What's the competition looking like for other games? What is the Game of the Year right now? I don't even know. Hi-Fi Rush or something?
That's a pretty good game.
Yeah.
I know it's got that little controversy going right now, but that was a pretty good game. Controversy. People worried it didn't sell enough. Mm-hmm. I mean, I look at the landscape. I know that we're supposed to get Starfield this year. That's that big Bethesda game. And I think that'll probably be a contender unless they drop the ball with it, which maybe they have. I don't know. Sounds like Redfall might have had the ball dropped with it, so who knows with Starfield. And then I think from Microsoft we have Final Fantasy 16, or from Sony we have Final Fantasy 16 coming. That's probably going to be up there for a Game of the Year award. Spider-Man 2, yeah, that's the other big one I was thinking of. Those will probably be the big competition. Then there'll be some really big indie game. He brought up he's got the list.
The top Metacritic Game of the Year is Metroid Prime Remastered. So there you go. Yep. Game of the Year 94.
Metroid Prime Remastered will be up. It's got to beat Metroid.
I think Tears of the Kingdom will win, if for no other reason than it's the darling of the the industry. Like,
and it took 6 years.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I will say I think Final Fantasy 16 might be its biggest competition because that also took a long time from the last one to this one.
Yep.
And that will be a more recent release. Sometimes you get a recency bias, but we'll see. I think it's gonna be a really tight race between those two.
Starfield could make a lot of waves too if it does actually come out in
if
September.
it does what it promises.
Yeah.
It's promising a lot. Bethesda sometimes
Thousands of
does that and
planets.
doesn't deliver.
Yeah.
Sometimes they do that and don't deliver. So let's wait.
Nintendo will definitely keep the best family game title, though. That's a lock right there.
Yeah. Every year they have the best family game.
It's like Splatoon. It's like, what? What were you gonna say, Zach?
I was gonna say, can you give us one last one? I have a 4:15 movie to catch, so
Yes.
You want to pick a final question here?
Last one, very easy one. Lisa does good over in Discord. What is the number one thing you hope to see in Tears of the Kingdom? Easy.
At once, 3, 2, 1. Dungeons.
Tingle. Oh, Dungeons.
Tingle.
Yeah,
I want a
Tingle.
Tingle.
Kalu-Limpa. Let's go.
I mean, playable Zelda would be pretty sick, even though I don't think it happens.
Yeah, I don't think it happens either, but it would be cool. I mean, they've had Zelda kind of playable in Spirit Tracks, but it was like a sidekick thing. Yeah, I mean, dungeons are the big one. Like that's kind of the big. Like if you're a big Zelda traditionalist fan, you just want to know, even if there's not 9 like Twilight Princess or something, dude. If we've got like just a few that are indoor, massive, you got your Death Mountain theme, your desert thing. Maybe put it this way: not that we had dungeons, that we have themed dungeons. Because again, Nintendo will argue we had dungeons in Breath of the Wild. Fine, but they were all the same theme.
Yeah.
Let's get some themed dungeons going.
I like that. I like that a lot. And I like this show. I appreciate you being on, Nate, and being so candid with us and talking through everything. Make sure to go check out his stuff over at Nintendo Prime, Pat's stuff at NintenTalk. We will be back next week for we got 2? Yeah, two left until this thing is out there. Holy crap. Wow.
Next week we'll be talking about the full leaked game because it'll happen.
We will not be spoiling that. But yeah, it's I can't believe it's coming out, and the fun has kind of just begun. So thank you so much for watching. Big thanks again, Nate and Pat, for being here. Any final words you guys want to promote or say or?
Hey, check out the Nintendo Prime podcast every Wednesday at 8 p.m. We got 3 shows left before it comes because we're a Wednesday show.
There you go. Pat?
I'm just going to play Breath of the Wild and beat it.
And then, unpack. Please unpack. You said you're 20% of the way there. So you got a lot of work to do.
You might want to do that first. Maybe prioritize a little bit.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Thanks for watching. Until next time, Switch Force out.